everyone, it's Maki here. The 50th anniversary promotional video was revealed at the GUNDAM Conference. Have you watched it yet? It's titled A Boy with Gundam. Although the song in the background is in Japanese, it's a wonderful video that lets you relive the 50th anniversary of the Gundam series and the lifetime journey of one fan. I highly recommend checking it out. This time, I'd like to share some of my personal highlights from the video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider joining the membership for just 99 cents per month. As a thank you, you'll receive a name badge and comment stamps. Now then, let's begin the analysis. The male protagonist looks up at the life-size statue of a Gundam. The story then begins as he recalls memories from his childhood. We see a boy running through the city after the rain. It's an ordinary, everyday scene. But this moment left a strong impression on me. Was this scene created using computer graphics? Or was it drawn by hand with pen and paper? The exact production method is unclear, but the way the puddle is portrayed is really worth paying attention to. What did you think when you watched it? Most people probably watched it without noticing anything especially striking. However, scenery reflected in water like this is actually an extremely high-level technical achievement. It's also something that the Gundam series has repeatedly challenged throughout its history. First, there's Zeta Gundam. In the opening sequence, there is a shot showing a hand reflected in the protagonist's helmet visor. This image is recreated in the 50th anniversary video as well. Next comes 0083. During the Mobile Suit Combat training sequence in Episode 1, reflections are portrayed in a similar way, once again. This time, the sky is reflected in the Mobile Suit's head camera. Although it seems like an ordinary scene, in staff interviews it has been described as a scene that could never be completed without an insane level of passion. Drawing reflections is not as simple as flipping something horizontally or vertically. You also have to consider angles and material properties. Remember that helmet visors and mobile suit head cameras have curved surfaces. In a commemorative video like this, the staff would also need to understand the characteristics of water in order to portray the reflections correctly. This advanced technique is used right from the opening scene. If it was hand-drawn, it must have been completed with an insane level of passion. If it was computer-generated, it suggests that technology capable of extremely complex and advanced calculations has been developed. What's truly incredible is the result. Most viewers probably watch the scene without noticing anything unusual about the water surface. It's only a very brief moment, but I highly recommend paying close attention to this scene. Then we move on to a scene in which the protagonist has reached middle school. You can see the Gunpla model displayed in his room. Take a close look when the camera zooms in on one of them. Pay careful attention to the paintwork. It looks as though the colors were applied using felt tape markers. In the early days, when Gunpla first became popular, modeling techniques and tools were nowhere near as widespread as they are today. Of course, the internet didn't exist as a place to exchange information either. So, kids back then did everything they could with whatever tools they could easily get their hands on to custom and decorate their Gunpla. This scene clearly portrays the situation of bands from that era. Immediately afterwards, the Gundam's font changes to yellow. As everyone knows, the LX-78 Gundam's horn is white. However, back then, magazines and toys were often produced with inaccurate information. This was largely because Gundam had not yet reached the level of commercial success and recognition it enjoys today. For some fans, therefore, seeing a Gundam with a yellow horn evokes a sense of nostalgia. You could say that this scene carefully conveys the memories that longtime fans still carry with them today. Now let's take a look at what happens next. The protagonist grows up, gets married, and starts a family. Then we see his child watching G Gundam, Gundam Wing and Gundam X. The scene in which he looks confused by G Gundam is particularly striking. Then Turn-A Gundam appears, and as he follows his child, he begins to chase after Gundam once again. Suddenly, he turns around and sees B2 Gundam and Gundam F91 appear. Some fans may have thought Victory Gundam and Gundam F91 were released before G Gundam. The order is wrong. However, I would like you to pay attention to one detail. The protagonist is looking back while chasing Turn-A Gundam. Before this, we see him watching Sha's counterattack. Sha's counterattack concluded the story of Cal-re-A and Charles Noble. Commercially speaking, many people at the time viewed it as the end of Gundam. After watching it, the protagonist temporarily stepped away from the Gundam series. However, seeing his child completely absorbed in Gundam reignited his passion. When he turns around, he discovers that works such as Victory Gundam and Gundam F91 had existed all along. Finally, we arrive at the scene featuring the life-size Gundam statue. Suddenly, the statue begins to walk. This differs from reality. The real-world Gundam statues cannot walk. However, this is also a fascinating choice. When the Gundam statue was completed, Tomino was a little angry at the press conference. He was upset that this Gundam cannot walk and then apologized to the audience. Of course, he often uses the technique of making a provocative statement at the start of press conferences and public appearances to grab the audience's attention before moving on to his real point. So you could say this comment was part of his presentation style. The idea of the Gundam statue walking is also something that Tomino had imagined. If you look carefully, you will also see a person in the scene who strongly resembles Tomino himself. What do you make of this elderly man with a thoughtful smile? The promotional video ends with protagonists from throughout Gundam history appearing together. That scene is memorable too, but another moment that stood out for me was seeing the protagonist, his son and his granddaughter running happily together. The adult protagonist reverts to childhood and starts running energetically once again. Personally, this moment reminded me of Gundam Age. It's a wonderful promotional video. This time, I've introduced the scenes that I personally liked, but there are many other great moments too. If you'd like, let me know which scenes stood out to you. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you again in the next program.